What is up, everybody? It is Alex from Heavy New York, calling from the quarantine zone again, and this time we are here with Christian of the almighty LLNN. Thanks for being here today. It's great to have you here.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely was just checking out the brand new album, Unmaker. This album is absolutely badass and brutal, reminded me of what I love so much about Deads. How was the overall making of this album? How did Unmaker sort of see the light of day?
Well, we started writing just as soon as Denmark entered our first lockdown. So we were like in each other's bubble. We spent like a half a year just writing it intensely, only seeing each other actually, besides our girlfriends and kids and stuff. So it was like very isolated in some weird way.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we just went ahead and just wrote because we couldn't play or anything, so we might as well get something new going. Was like the meaning back then.
Mhm. Did the lockdown and everything that's been happening maybe influence the making of this album? I feel like Unmaker is almost feels like a title that resonates with the world. The world is like being unmade in a way. Like, do you almost did like the times of isolation and darkness influence like the lyricism or the songwriting?
Yeah, extremely. Uh, I'm also like I'm working at a school for kids with autism, and I've been working the entire time since we entered lockdown, and I at some points I felt like cannon fodder, problem, and yeah, it's definitely everything that happened during the lockdown, Corona, and it kind of made things come to light that pissed me off. So it's really been it's a big part of the record, just the entire thing,
Yeah.
everything we experienced, the isolation, and yeah.
Yeah. Well, I remember listening to the last album, Deads, and I thought that that really had like a lot of melancholy but a lot of anger influenced into it as well. Was Unmaker like a direct continuation from what we heard off of an album such as Deads, or an album such as Loss, or were you trying to take a new approach with Unmaker?
I'd say it's for me it's a continuation. It's more like a refinement of what I felt were our strengths in some weird way. That's pretty much. I just wanted to like, back when we met, that people were like raving about how brutal and stuff it was, and I was like, I haven't even kind of tried being brutal yet. So I wanted to see like where that could carry us, and what kind of music that would like yeah, make.
Yeah.
So I'd say like it's more a refinement than a straight continuation. I think I feel.
Yeah, I feel like when you compare Lost to Deads to this, there is almost kind of like an essence of refinement. It's almost like I feel like your catalog is like you unleashed a realm of chaos, and like each album is like picking out a part of that pile of chaos and bringing in its own sort of style.
Yeah, yeah. I'm happy. I'm happy to hear that. That was kind of the whole purpose with it. So that means a lot.
Do you ever start off the songwriting with like a preconceived idea of what you want it to sound like, or is there a lot of like improvising that's involved with your songwriting?
It's pretty much only, yeah. Sometimes I have some riffs or something, but pretty much the entire record we wrote together. So it's more like a jam, you could say. But the thing is, yeah, yeah, it's more like a jam. But we had like overall goals for the record that we tried to like accomplish while making it, like being more brutal, making a more heavy record, and being more concise about our things, and not do too much of like the classic post metal meandering, or you could say, with the long instrumental sections and stuff like that. We were kind of felt like we were over that. So that's pretty much what we try to do with the Unmaker.
Hmm. And is it fair to say that the songwriting process for this was very, very organic in a way?
Yeah, extremely, extremely. Everyone like contributed to the record. Even our synth player Ketil, he has like a setup now that he didn't have back in the day, so he could like jam with us. So a lot of the ideas and the things about the synths and so on, we could actually do that in real time now, which had a significant impact on how well we like mashed those elements together, I would say.
Yeah. And has there ever been a time where maybe like lyrics or a lyrical idea could help influence the outcome of the music, or have you always needed to hear the music before you come up with lyrics?
I'm a guitarist first and foremost, so I write the music and then I start to like, sure, I get like ideas and like phrases and stuff like that I'd like to like, insert. But usually when I'm done with the songs from a guitar standpoint, that's when I pick it up with the lyrics.
Okay.
Um,
Do, do you like to leave the lyrics open to interpretation, or do you like to maybe convey a certain message that is being invoked through LLNN?
Both, I'd say. It's like I don't want to be too on the nose about how I feel, and but I still want to be on the nose, and so it's like a balancing act that because I don't feel like beating people in the head about what I feel about. It's more like making a sense of uh, creating us like a mood or something like that. I'd much rather do that and have people interpret it as they please.
Yeah. Like you wouldn't hesitate on explaining what the meaning of a certain song is if somebody were to ask you.
No, not at all. But I don't feel like writing it all out on the internet, so everyone could see it. So it's just if anyone like gets a hold of me, they're free to ask, and I'd love to explain it.
Yeah. That's more of an incentive to go see LLNN live because then people could find out the meanings there.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let's say that. Yeah, that's good marketing, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. Find out the meanings of our songs. Come see us play live.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and let me rant. Buy me a beer or something.
That's a good idea. Oh, you know what? I think from now on, when I do in-person interviews, I'm gonna get every person I interview drunk, just so I could ask them what's the meaning of that song, that song, that song, and then all the secrets will be out then.
Yeah, exactly. But if you have any questions, I'd love to answer.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, I was like listening to this album. I'm actually very intrigued by also like the presentation of it. Like I love this artwork that's involved with it because like the artwork for Unmaker is just so like I'm wondering what that object is on that cover and what's being incorporated on there. And like when you bring this intense violence, like I feel like that uh LLNN's music, like the title in itself is very mysterious. The artwork is very mysterious. Do you almost feel like you I feel like you have a way of fooling your listeners into thinking that they're going to see one thing and they get something else.
well, I think it's certainly not on purpose, but if that's what happens, I'm pretty happy about it. I'd have to say, but we try to like create a vibe or something like an overall theme. But we're actually pretty approachable guys,
Well,
as I'm sure you could. But
yeah.
yeah, but I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah.
So
Do you almost feel like that this album is almost like a journey? Like people should start off with Imperial and end with Resurrection. Like that's like the best way to explore this album, or can a listener like put this on shuffle or something like that and explore it through different angles?
I no, that's a great question. Let me think. I'd much rather that people like took it from one end to the other. So we were rehearsing here the other day, and we were like talking about discussing if the track list was any different. And we just can't like we can't conceive it any different because it's like it's just how it is. It kind of just landed as it was, and we can't like see it in any other way. But I feel like there's some rhyme and reason to the things we do, and our sequencing and stuff like that. That I feel like helps on the overall thing. But sure, you could listen to the song like individually, but shuffle just doesn't make sense to me in some weird way.
Yeah, I mean, if you listen,
Yeah, but oh
there,
no, sorry.
there are some albums you listen to where like you're like playing like the most brutal song, and then you listen to it on shuffle, and then like the intro track to the album comes on, and then it goes right to the encore, and then like it could mess some things up, but it could also add new context to the album as well.
Sure, sure. But if that's what you like doing, who am I to
Mhm.
do you know?
Yeah. You
But
ready?
that's how we. The sequencing is very thought about, I guess. So I prefer if people heard it from one end to the other.
You ready for the most difficult question of the whole interview?
Let's do it.
How do you know when a song is done?
It's never done.
Yeah,
It's just
give me something
fucking.
better. I get that answer all the time. It's such a cop out.
Yeah, I know. Well, I guess yeah, but there's some truth to it, But still, I'd say it's more like a gut feeling that, or else you got like a deadline breathing down your neck, and you need to get the shit done before recording it or something like that. That's usually how I get songs done. That's just because we fucking need to record it.
Yeah.
So it's like we usually impose a pretty strict deadline on ourselves when we start writing it. We usually book the studio because it kind of lights a fire under our asses in some weird way.
Yeah.
So I could tinker with it all day, as all the time, but the deadline kind of helps us like leave it at some point.
Definitely.
I'd say.
There was a one question that I'm very interested in. If you don't mind me asking, I'm not sure if it's too personal, but you mentioned you're a teacher for kids with autism. My was actually a teacher for kids with autism as well, and being on the spectrum myself, we learn a lot from each other and everything like that. I was just wondering, has that occupation maybe influenced how you write songs, or maybe influenced certain lyrical themes as well?
Uh, it wouldn't feel like it though, because it's like a very hateful, violent album, But I feel like my occupation has made me a more emphatic person. I need to meet people where they are, and and make sure they have a great day, and make sure they have lives and structures that make them feel safe, and feel comfortable in their lives. That's so with my job, it's not a lot about me. It's about how can I serve them best, because they really need the help, right?
Definitely.
So I'd say it's just made me more emphatic, empathetic as,
Yeah.
as a person.
You know what you should say
Yeah.
that your band is? Your band is evil music for good people.
Yeah. Thank you, man. Exactly.
Yeah. I pitched that line to Cannibal Corpse, and they never used it, so you could use it now.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I might.
Yeah, I'm waiting for one band to use that. So if LLNN uses it, go ahead.
Evil music for good people. I remember.
Yeah. Um,
Yes.
yeah, and because I've always have been fascinated by just the occupation of a teacher in general, and I was interviewing the singer of Benighted a couple weeks ago, and he's works helping people with mental disabilities as well, and it's just amazing because I've always said that being a teacher is an art in itself, regardless of who you're teaching or what you're teaching. To be able to take information, complex ideas, and bring them down into ways that people can understand is almost like an art in itself in a way. I'd imagine being a teacher has had to make communicating with your bandmates easier in a way, in terms of saying what you wanted done with the music and so on as well, right?
I don't know. We bigger all the
Yeah.
time. But I don't know. It usually works at the job, but we're still just four shitheads. So, yeah. But I guess I can convey my ideas, and but it's not like I'm any kind of authority figure or anything. I don't view myself in that way at all.
Yeah.
So I it's just loose, you know.
Yeah. And the final question I wanted to ask you is being that the band is based out of Copenhagen, I've interviewed actually a couple of bands from Denmark now. I just interviewed Ghost Iris a couple months ago. I also interviewed Cabal right before the shutdown happened. So
Yeah.
I was just wondering, how is the current scene out there in Denmark at the moment? Is the goal for LLNN to kind of like go outside of Denmark at this point?
We've always been more outside of Denmark than we've been in Denmark, but and that had a lot to that has a lot to do how we ended up on Pelagic Records and stuff like that. But I'd say there's never been a greater time for Danish metal at all. There's like so many talented, really ambitious musicians out there right now that I really believe have something on their hearts and want to convey it. There's like I could like run off like a huge list of bands. So I really love that because that keeps me on my toes. There's a lot of bands and they inspire me to be better, and that I feel that's awesome. Denmark is really there's really a lot of great stuff right now. I feel like.
Awesome. So before we go, I want to thank you so much for your time today and for such an awesome discussion. Is there just anything else with LLNN that you would like to promote with the release of Unmaker? It's coming out.
No, not at all. Yeah, tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, it'll be
So
out today by the time this airs. So
sure. Well, Friday the 24th. Go check it out if you want to like feel really bad but in a good way.
if
It's
you
like a stern talking to.
can you bring LLNN to the States, please?
We'd love to. We'd love to come over.
Yeah, we'd love to have you here. But well, you just said something and it just completely escaped my mind right now. But music that'll make you feel bad but feel really good or something like that. That was like the best outro ever. But thank you so much, everybody. We are here with LLNN, the evil music for good people. Be sure to check out their new album, Unmaker. This is Alex from Heavy New York, and we will see you next time.